Well, today you're playing a cyborg that has to stop another cyborg. And all of that in German. So it's a cyborg probably. No, it's just a cyborg. But still, it's confusing. It's even more confusing if you consider the fact that the cyborg you're hunting is the Cyborg 2900 and your Cyborg 3000. And yes, as you probably already noticed, this game is called Cyborg 2900.
RetroKork.
Cyborg 2900 was released in the 64, that's a German Commodore 64 magazine, special issue number 60, and it is in German. So, yeah. The backstory makes relatively little sense. A cyborg that is capable of reprogramming itself was sent to a foreign planet as some sort of ambassador or something. Instead of doing that, being a friendly neighbor and everything, the Cyborg 2900, named after the year it was sent, or he was sent, that cyborg became supreme dictator of the planet after a massive genocide. The cyborg you're playing, Cyborg 3000, however, is incapable of reprogramming itself, and therefore you, in a way, are kind of crippleware. Your job is to eliminate Cyborg 2900. 2900. And its pyramid. Why? Well, the inhabitants of the planet that Cyborg 2900 had overthrown, they managed to place nuclear warheads around the headquarters of the Cyborg 2900, and yeah, they used these nuclear warheads to blow it into space. Now, to be honest, this sounds very, very impossible to me, simply due to physics and all that, but I'm fairly certain this is more of a science fantasy, very, very soft science fiction than hard sci-fi. Anyway, you fulfill your task, your goal, your objective by walking around in a very polygonal environment, and that's actually where my mistake came from. I believed it to be some sort of Sentinel clone instead of being, well, pretty much an RPG or something very close to that at least. Even though I'm capable of reading the hints that you can sometimes find in the black spots, which can also be doors or warp gates, by the way, in addition to being a note, my copy tends to flicker, and outside the intro, obviously the old saying that in space no one can hear you scream seems to be kind of possible as there is no music. But I can have sound effects so you hear when I shoot, for example. The controls are... they're complicated, and I personally would suggest you use a joystick in port 2 to make things a little easier. Because if you use the keyboard controls to move, you have to be a bit bonkers. Pressing O makes you move forward, K makes you move backwards. Z or Z is to sidestep to the left, X does the sidestep to the right. So no WASD controls. Now to raise yourself up you press R, which also allows you to go up stuff, and down and crouch is F. You turn left with Q and right with W. Look down with L, sorry. Look up with P. Look down with L. Look up with P. Lean left and right with N and M, respectively. You reset your view with I You turn around 180 degrees with the letter U. You activate items with A and fire with the letter B. Like I said, all over the place. The joystick at least does the forward, backwards thing, as well as turning left and right, plus fire does shoot. Oh, and control makes you move a little faster. Yeah, admittedly I'm not good at this game. It's slow as molasses, at least on an emulated Commodore 64, but according to the instructions in the magazine, you have to either activate or destroy small pyramids and cubes. Oh, and of course, shoot the black spots on the walls, which contain hints in German and therefore are relatively little used to an international audience, non-German speakers. There are warps and doors can be hints as well. Which makes it quite a mess to explain, especially when you explain it twice like I just did. Now, what do I make of this game? Well, considering it's a semi-professional release by a small team, I have to say they may have been biting off more than they could chew. It's by no means a bad game by virtue of just being insanely sluggish, but to make it a really good game, well, yeah, it would have needed a lot more polish. Okay, after this debacle, I'm going to talk about a game that I know is 100% in English next time. I'm going to talk about Auto Duel.